Before I begin, I want to reiterate the same disclaimer as last time. Please do not harass ImAllexx, Che, Hyojin, or anyone else involved. Do they deserve it? I really don't know. But what I do know is that the biggest victim in all of this, Michael, has said that he doesn't want it, and for good reason. Once again, shooting threats at people is only going to make things worse. I'm not asking you to be nice, just reasonably civil about it. Give Alex some time, maybe he will change, though judging by his past, it's a pretty debatable idea. Either way, for the sake of civility, the benefit of the doubt, and respecting Michael's requests, please refrain from harassing them. Moving on. So ImAllexx has finally posted a response to the backlash, which is both expected and unexpected judging from his recent activity on both his YouTube and Twitter accounts. Honestly, at this point, I really don't know what to say about him anymore. Not only did it take him a month to admit wrongdoing, he also doubled down in between as well. And it's a sketchy apology at best, leaving out many key details, so I have very mixed feelings about it. Some of you guys might be wondering why I don't like his apology too much, and I totally understand that, so hear me out. To clue you guys in, here's the full apology on Twitter. Recently, I spoke to Slazo and discussed as well as apologized for my support of Che's original post and the way I handled the accusations that had been put forward. I came to the conclusion I had through multiple friends of mine reinforcing stories as well as multiple other people coming forward privately with their own personal situations involving Slazo, which under the pretext I fully believed at the time. I should have waited for both sides of the story and regret supporting the post without having all the information and hearing Slazo's side. I have spoken to him since and apologized for jumping the gun no matter how convincing I believed the evidence was. It was a mistake to support the post, as no matter how much I believed that the allegations were true, it does not excuse the fact that it should have been given to the correct authorities to deal with properly and privately. I regret giving my personal opinion on the situation as it was not necessary. I did so because I felt responsible as a friend of those involved, but also as a friend of Slazo's to not support the behavior he had been accused of, as I fully believed that it was completely true at the time. Regarding me doubling down, I very much believed a lot of the stories I had been given from multiple other people, which is why I wasn't quick to dismiss the alleged victims that had approached me, although that doesn't excuse my rash responses and poor handling of a very delicate situation. I understand that people are upset with my lack of response, but I've personally taken my time to respond due to the recent events and constantly developing situations that have been happening privately. I removed my posts regarding the situation as I can no longer stand behind them, nor do I believe in them anymore based off the new information I had been given. Now, at first glance, I wouldn't say it was half bad. In fact, I was ready to drop the subject completely. The first two paragraphs were pretty good and believable. It looks like he talked to Michael and sorted things out, including apologizing for jumping the gun. He also claims that it was a combination of friends reinforcing the story along with other things that made the situation believable to him. And since coming out, he has unblocked the word Slazo from his comment section. He admits that the situation should have been handled privately, which infers that he was part of the reason it went public, and that's all good. On the other side, however, there is a bit to say too. First off, I'm a bit disappointed that he didn't decide to apologize on camera, let alone on YouTube. I feel that he owes it to Michael to help repair the damage. Admittedly, his reach on Twitter is quite vast anyways, but I personally think a video would have come across better. However, that's really just a criticism of the form of apology and not of the apology itself. Other things within the apology also fall apart a bit, and the general concern I have with this is that the whole thing looks rushed and more like damage control. And many agree with this. Nicholas Diorio on Twitter said, "It doesn't cover half the stuff it should cover, and it's clearly rushed with many spelling errors, and he is blaming other people by the second paragraph. It's a no from me, dog." Now, I will say that it felt like Alex was more justifying why he did it in the first place, with no intentions of really blaming other people. He was just saying, why he did it, because there has to be a reason for everything. But it was a pretty bad reason to begin with, so I definitely do not agree with Alex for taking this reason and using that as a full justification, but I just wanted to clarify what I thought about it. Okay, I just wanted to readdress the point I made. Looking back, it does seem like he was looking for other people to blame, specifically the alleged other victims that had come forward to him. As I questioned in the last video, I don't think they exist. In fact, the only people who have claimed that are Alex and Che, and they're just that. Claims. Not only have none of the victims come forward about this on their own, Alex and Che haven't released any of their statements either, which is weird considering Alex's habit of publicizing everything in the situation that agrees with him. Along with this, Kwite's apology, which I'll address later, doesn't even mention it whatsoever, while only presenting Che's DMs as evidence. And Kwite was pretty involved in this as well. He was in a conversation with Alex to figure out how they could release the story. So to clarify, yes, I think he was looking for a phantom to blame. Anyways, Alex mentions that he was trying to support friends. However, according to Boblax, a call with Alex and a leaked DM conversation debunked that quickly, which begs the question, why was he more inclined to believe Che, his non-friend, rather than ask Michael, whom he was collaborating with just months before? I really don't get this part. And since he's trying to cover up that he wasn't friends with the accusing group, I think there's something else he's not telling us. However, that previous point was built on the assumption that he's lying about his friendship with Che, so that's kind of up in the air. Moving on, he makes the whole apology to be a bit too formal in my opinion. He keeps things really vague by saying things like recent events and constantly developing situations, and wait, seriously? Both of those things were caused by you, Alex. You caused the recent events and continued developing the hate here. Unless if you have something happening aside from the situation, I think you're still on the defense here. My point is, I don't think Alex is being fully sincere with us. While he may feel sorry for this, I'm not 100% convinced he's learned his lesson, though only the future will tell that. Alex, I truly wish you the best in maintaining a better mindset in the future, and I hope you can have a career built on more critical values and ideologies. So, in the middle of writing the script, Kwite had also come out with his long-awaited apology, and I have to say he genuinely seems remorseful for doing it. Let's take a read. Hey guys, I'm sorry for the wait on this, but I wanted to talk about the Slaza situation and my involvement in it. To start with, I want to say that while I can only speak for myself, the reason I initially got involved in the situation a few months back is the same reason I'm sure everyone else who was involved did. A friend of ours reached out saying something terrible had happened to her at the hands of someone we also knew, and she presented DM evidence that seemed to back up what she had said. Though looking back to me, it feels like we didn't have the full story. When I heard about it at the time, I got very emotional. The claims Che was making seemed sound with the evidence that she gave behind it, and the idea that I had associated or collaborated with someone who was supposedly capable of those kinds of things made me angry and ashamed before anything else. But hindsight 2020. And it's very clear that I let my emotions and feelings in the situation cloud my judgment instead of thinking before I acted, which is the last thing I should have done when regarding something as serious as accusations like the ones that were being made. I wanted to support a friend in their time of need, but instead I became overzealous and ended up jumping the gun before I had heard out the other side of the story from someone who had also been a friend. While with what he's admitted to in his video and other places, I don't think Slazo is fully clear of criticism, and neither am I in this situation, and I didn't have the full story when I acted. I did him a disservice as someone I also considered a friend by not even trying to get his side of the story and not thinking my actions through. In regards to this DM that's been making the rounds where I asked Che if she had a version of the post she was going to send, everything said in that exchange was before the situation went public, when everyone involved was under the impression that there was someone dangerous in the community with power who could potentially hurt others. But looking back, it definitely wasn't that simple, and while I may not have been operating with malintent, it does not excuse what I did, and I'm sorry. A few weeks ago, just a bit after Slazo made his response, I said that I was going to be taking some time to collect my thoughts and draw conclusions properly, and even now I'm really not sure where I stand regarding the situation as a whole. I only know with certainty where I've messed up during this whole thing and where I personally need to make amends. On one hand, I don't think Che is lying about her pain, and I still believe her intentions were pure. I think what she's feeling is very real to her, and I'll continue to support her as a friend, but I'm sorry to Slazo for what I contributed to putting him through. I've gotten a lot of flack for my part in this whole thing, some of which is deserved, but I understand that that is only a fraction of the grief the main parties involved endured in this whole thing. I'm sorry to everybody who I let down and is disappointed in me, and I know I need to do better moving forward. I have a question for you guys. Did that feel more genuine? Seriously, I feel like he really knew what he did wrong and took responsibility without over defending himself with vague statements and half-truths. In fact, I can't comment too much on how long it took since he made sure to announce it weeks earlier. The only thing I would say is make a video. That's where your furthest reach is, and considering what has happened, I think it's owed to Michael. However, at least you seem genuine. Anyways, from the looks of it, my guess was correct. It seems that most people involved believed Che's seemingly convincing evidence and just went crazy. If this is true, then I do worry about Che's current state, though I'm in no position to predict what her current mental state is. Hopefully, if what Kwite said is true, then I do hope that she'll come out and address the situation. Okay, here are some of my final thoughts. It looks like most involved, including ImAllexx, believe Che's statements and evidence. That points me back to my stance on cancel culture. Learn from these people's mistakes and make sure you contribute to solving a situation rather than fueling it. This brings me back to my original disclaimer. Why don't I want anyone harassing either party? Because no one will gain much. That's a simple statement. Once again, I'm all for pushing for something, in this case an apology or statement, but death threats and anything of the likes will not achieve anything. Anyways, leave your feedback as I do read every comment, and message me on my social medias if you want to talk. For those of you guys who have followed me on my videos on this situation, I truly appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys around.